Hello and welcome back to the Coin Stories podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Brunell, and I'm talking to leading voices in Bitcoin and macroeconomics about their origin stories, Bitcoin headlines and news topics, and this movement to fix the world by fixing the money. This podcast does not provide financial advice. Before I share this week's episode, here are some messages from my sponsors who make this show possible. First of all, are you ready for Bitcoin 2023? I certainly am. This year's Bitcoin conference was absolutely amazing. I got to spend a week in Miami with tens of thousands of Bitcoiners from around the world, and I'm so grateful that I had the chance to anchor Bitcoin Magazine's live desk and MC the main stage. If you missed the event, you can catch all 3 days of incredible Bitcoin content over on Bitcoin Magazine's YouTube channel. And also, it's never too early to start making plans to attend the next conference. Bitcoin 2023 tickets are already available and super early bird rates do not last long. So you can visit b.tc/conference/2023 and secure your pass before prices increase. This show is also powered by Okcoin, my favorite place to DCA without the crazy fees. Okcoin recently launched an amazing initiative called Crypto for All, which is aimed at democratizing knowledge and access to Bitcoin. Okcoin is one of the fastest growing and most secure global cryptocurrency exchanges that serves all your needs for Bitcoin and is committed to investing in educational content, funding crypto developers and entrepreneurs from underrepresented groups, and helping more diverse talent work on crypto ecosystem projects and careers. Okcoin has actually contributed more than $1 million to Bitcoin core devs and counting, has one of the most active Lightning nodes, and recently launched Sats mode. To open an account and start stacking, head to okcoin.com/Natalie and get $50 in Bitcoin when you sign up. Hong, thank you so much for coming back on my show. And what a better place to be than Oslo?
Yes, great.
How are you doing?
Thank you for having me back.
Of course. Yeah. How are you doing? And what do you think about Oslo?
It's been interesting in my first time here as well. So I find this place to be very refreshing, clean, and I think have an interesting group of people here. So looking forward to the conference.
It's so beautiful here. I'm excited about Oslo Freedom Forum and your talk here. But I want to talk about everything that's happening right now in the world because I think a lot of people are just panicking about the price of Bitcoin. So first of all, I'll just ask you, what do you think about the price drop?
It's great.
You think it's great?
It's great for stacking, right? I was actually nervous when the Bitcoin price was going all the way up, but I think with some pullback, you actually gave more people the opportunity to get in, and also it's the cycle generally is a great opportunity for people to actually look at what they're really into and convert from generally just playing into the field, playing price speculation, to actually believing in it. Right, and it's also a time when real lasting projects can stand out throughout the cycle. You actually start to be able to differentiate between real diamonds and bubbles. So I think it's a part of the industry, and it's also a good process.
So I got into Bitcoin in 2017, and I have been through, a crash because the 2018 one was pretty significant. Yes. But I've never worked in Bitcoin during a quote-unquote bear market. So can you talk a little bit about, first of all, are we in a bear market or crypto winter? And how does that change when you're operating an exchange? Yeah. How does that change your role?
I was actually the same with you. I was into Bitcoin in 2016 and 17. But I was not working in Bitcoin per se. I was investing in Okcoin back then. So, maybe 50% part of the industry. But I think for now, what I'm seeing is, yes, there is a lot of volatility, and also because of the recent Terra UST situation, the market sentiment is also changing. Also because of the macroeconomic trends are kind of moving in a certain direction where it's kind of pulling everything down. So I definitely are seeing a more difficult path before us, just in general, not only just for crypto and Bitcoin, but also overall economic environment is probably shaping out in certain direction that will take some time to unwind. But for us, working at exchange, we've been through it. We've been through the cycle before. It's actually a great time for us to focus on building our product, maintaining a focus on serving the customer, and coming up out of the cycle stronger. We have been focused on the product delivery over the last 12 months, working on our application, mobile app. We just came up with a new updated version of it, adding Lightning to our app as well, which we're super excited about. We'll continue to add a lot of other basic stuff that we think are critical to introduce more people into Bitcoin and the broader ecosystem when the next cycle comes. So I'm pretty excited about it. Our team also sees that, and it's a great time to continue to build.
Is this officially winter?
I don't know.
Like, when do you know if it's winter?
So the way I think about cycles for us is less about market price. Market price is definitely an important element, but it will be a real winter, a bear market for me, for us, when we see less people, less talents interested in the space.
Oh, wow.
Right? But now it's not the situation. We're still seeing a strong interest from first-class talents in the space. They still want to come in and be part of it, ranging from engineers to product managers to marketers to designers, creative people. So I think from that perspective, is it a bear market? Maybe from a capital markets perspective, yes. But I do think that and at the price level brings in a lot more soberness to the industry, which is actually what we need if we really want to focus on building the substance. And I'm pretty hopeful. And again, as I mentioned, I think it's great opportunity for people who have real conviction to accumulate at the right entry price. So I think it's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm curious about your opinion of what the Federal Reserve is doing, because it seems like they're just okay with letting equities fall. Obviously, crypto falls with it because they have been correlated, although I hope that changes in the future. But what do you think about the central bank? I know, obviously your family worked for the central bank in China, right?
Long time ago.
And you studied this in grad school as well, everything about the economic system. So what are your thoughts on what they're doing?
I think policymakers' hands are really tied. Their hands have been tied for decades, and it's just like you don't really have a whole lot of tools to use at this point in terms of monetary policy and fiscal policy. There's so much you can do when you have imbalances in the system, right? And basically kicking the can down the road, but how long can you actually kick the can down the road? In 2008, when we were in that financial crisis, the whole seed were sold 10 years before then, or actually less than 10 years before then. So right now it's 2022, and we saw monetary easing from the financial crisis back in 2008, and we had another round in 2020 with COVID. And how would that actually affect our economic health in general? That will just play out, and you don't really have much to do about it. And the reality is, because of COVID and also because of the geopolitical dynamics, the productivity in real economy has been suffering, and the technological advancement that have been the savior for us previously, particularly in between 2000 and 2008. Right now, when we're looking at what we are having the alternatives here, it's not that powerful from an internet penetration perspective. Internet penetration has been plateauing. Mobile penetration has been plateauing. We are seeing some advancement in AI and healthcare tech, but how much of that would be able to give us a short-term boost? So I don't know. I feel like I'm not a macro economist, and I think Lynn Arden will give you a much better answer there. But just in general, I just don't feel like there's a lot of room for the central bank policymakers to turn the ship around, because we all know where we are heading toward, and that's why we are here. That's why we are so much into Bitcoin, because I think that's really the only solution longer term.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned earlier the UST, the Terra LUNA meltdown, and I feel terrible that some people lost apparently their life savings. So I just wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think about that whole situation? There were some Bitcoiners, including Nick Carter and some of the other prominent names, that said early on, like, this is going to collapse. And then others were really excited about the idea of having this stable coin potentially backed by Bitcoin. So what do you think about everything that happened?
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate. I think it's a great lesson for the overall industry, reminding us that, number one, when something is too good, it's probably not real. Number two, financial engineering, even if it's quote-unquote supported or built on top of technological innovation, it's still financial engineering, and it's just not going to last long. And to be honest, when I think of, we were talking about Bitcoin and DeFi and NFT and all the other stuff that has happened over the last 2 years, right? One of the things that I always believe in is that, number one, do I believe that Bitcoin is going to be the anchor of everything we're building? Absolutely, yes. Do I believe that Bitcoin is going to be the only one that is going to be in that future? No, I think there will be different layers that will be built on top of it, including the second layer solutions and some of the other stuff running in parallel to it. But do I believe that it will be a purely financial system innovation? No, because if it is just purely financial system disruption, we're not really disrupting ourselves. It has to be real life use cases that is built on top of it, and then finance is just there to help us achieve a larger goal. So I think it really reminds us that all the creativity that we're seeing in crypto is great. I think there's something there, but without more building and more use case that comes up that was actually supported by various protocol development and project that is beyond finance, this is not going to last long, and it's not going to get us anywhere. So I think that is just a lesson for us. Whether they're scams or not, the other day I was coming across a random blog on Twitter, and that person was basically saying there are 3 things you have to remember if you get into the space. Number one, you are the only one responsible for what you're doing. Right? You own everything, you make your own decision, and you benefit or lose from it, but you are the ultimate responsible party. And I think that's number one. Number two, there are always scammers out there, and assume that just like in real life in crypto, you probably have a higher ratio, but still, it's the same. So those I think are the important things that we always have to remember. And from industry participants' perspective, from where we are sitting, we just want to be here supporting Bitcoin community, making sure that we build the right foundation. From our perspective, we build the right product because marketplace is the infrastructure. We need to build the right and easy ramp, gateway for people, and honestly offer a alternative to Coinbase for people who don't want to be on Coinbase but want to have optionalities for things other than Bitcoin. So we're here to build and long-term to support the community too.
Well, speaking of Coinbase, I feel like there's a lot of FUD right now surrounding just the idea of whether to keep your coins on exchanges. And there was something put out about Coinbase and whether if they file for bankruptcy, they could potentially liquidate people's assets, people's digital assets. So I was curious, running an exchange, what do you tell the folks out there that go on Twitter and everyone's saying take your keys and get your coins
Yeah.
off of all of them. Don't trust the exchanges. You run an exchange, so can they be trusted?
Well, the thing is, yes, we do run an exchange, and I would say yes, we are very trustworthy, but don't put all your money on exchanges or anyone, right? You always want to control your own asset, and that's all what Bitcoin and crypto is about. To have that sovereignty, obviously, you need to take responsibility for that. But for every individual, I think the mix of using cold wallet to manage their own assets versus using an exchange is a very personal decision. Everyone has their own risk assessment of how much risk they see in themselves managing their own cold wallet versus relying on exchange to do that. I think people just have different assessment there. But in general, I think what I would say is number one, learn about at least cold wallet and how to use it, and number two, pick an exchange where you feel trustworthy, that's actually easy to go on and in and out. You don't want to get into an exchange where it's easy to go in but very hard to draw. For us, we are working on ACH withdrawal to make the fiat withdrawal easy. We have Lightning where you can pull your Bitcoin out in small amount at very low cost immediately. So we want to, and we have other second layer integration to enable you to take your other assets off. I definitely encourage people to take assets off into their wallet, but at the same time, many people don't feel comfortable managing their own stuff, right? So in terms of the bankruptcy piece, I think that's interesting. We actually saw that, and we had also some internal discussion and trying to figure out what's going on. And I think our legal team is going to not like it, but what I understand from that is basically it's basically a risk disclosure on their side. It's almost like every IPO filing or 10K or 10Q filing where you just want to cover your disclosing all the risk factors out there. And according to the current situation, I think there's no legal requirement to rule the digital asset out from bankruptcy situations. But there are always a possibility, and I think there is a strong possibility for judges to actually say, you know what, in specific cases, the digital asset should not be put into a scope where the creditors can put a claim on. So in essence, it's a risk. It's not like you are going to lose it, but it's a risk. But I'm sure that both from a regulatory perspective as well as from a legal perspective, there's a lot of room to actually protect that piece from becoming part of the creditor claim before customers get their own hands on it. The other thing I want to say is related to that. I don't know if that's the case, but I think there are potential confusions about what a exchange platform like us are doing versus what a bank is doing in traditional financial space. In a traditional financial market, banks actually, you put your money into a bank, right? But there's leverage that they're doing, and the money you put in, they actually turn it around and lend to the other people.
It's all fractional.
It's all fractional, and there's maturity matching mismatch. But in the business that we're running, we don't touch customer assets. Customer assets, Bitcoin that you buy on our platform, you leave there. It's in that account that we don't touch. It's not our own account. And we don't lend your crypto to other people. So there's no bank run situation in this case. I cannot speak for others, but at least for us, that's the case.
This episode is also brought to you by one of my favorite companies in the space, Fold. Fold is the easiest and most fun way to earn Bitcoin on everything you do. So if you're interested in Bitcoin, but you really don't know where to start, Fold is the perfect app. There's a daily wheel that you can spin every day for free, and you can earn Bitcoin, free Satoshis. Seriously, there's no catch. And one of my other favorite things is their card, the Fold debit card. You can actually earn Bitcoin back on every single purchase. So make sure to download the Fold app today. There's a referral link in the description. Well, out of curiosity, recently after the Bitcoin conference, I met someone who specifically focuses on cybersecurity for exchanges. And so I'm hoping to have him on the show because I was like, wow, that's really fascinating how you actually secure and make sure that the coins can't be hacked.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about just the security aspect? Like, what does Okcoin do in order to make sure that those digital assets are protected and safe?
Yeah, that's a big topic, and that's the most important thing for us. We have been around for 8 years now. We were started in 2013, I think we talked about it last time. The wallet, the asset security is the most important thing for us. I think we have been fortunate that we haven't had a bad situation there. Partly also because we have been developing our own proprietary wallet system. It's a combination of on-chain and off-chain cold wallet and a hot wallet. And then the cold wallet, you have actually different offline devices and have different people managing different devices, and there's a multi-sig process that is being done by multiple people.
Oh, wow.
And we try to keep a certain ratio for customer assets between hot wallet and cold wallet, so that there is a important portion of the asset sitting offline. Not accessible for hacking. So that's what we have been doing. We iterate on that, but fingers crossed.
Perfect.
So far, so good.
Well, so what are you most looking forward to this year? Obviously, you mentioned that if it is a bear market, this is the time when a lot of important work is done and you can build towards the next bull run. But what are you really looking forward to as we approach this crazy summer and potentially fall of more volatility?
Yeah. I think working with industry to a lot of the thought leaders like yourself to really help continue with the educational side is always important. I think this is also a volatile market is also a lot of time when more people are having question marks on their mind. They probably want to look for some of the answers that they previously haven't really got the time to ask. So I think that is important for us. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to sponsor Bitcoin developer community. We've been doing that for 2.5 years now. And then I think the most important thing for us still is to get our product in the perfect place. Right now, it's not there yet. I think we're doing a good job. We're doing a better job than some of our other competitors in certain areas like Lightning and whatnot. But there's still a lot of things that we want to actually work on and to continue to hone in to really provide that the best and easiest and coolest app experience for people coming into the space. So that will be the single most focus area for us for the rest of the year.
In these cycles, we have Bitcoin and all these other cryptos kind of come out, and everything benefits, I think, from Bitcoin's run up. But then when they fall, Luna, Terra being one of them, you could never hear from some of them again. And I think it was very similar to the '90s.com bubble. Websites came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden they were gone forever.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about is there a process where if things crash to a certain level, you actually remove coins off of your exchange and you make a decision?
Yeah, we do have our own delisting process. We will regularly look at assets and make those decisions. We actually previously pulled assets off our platform too. In addition to the Bitcoin alternatives that you probably know, we actually delisted some of the other assets that we seared those that didn't make sense anymore. So we do have that process. I think it's interesting. I think it's a very natural market process.
Like a cleansing, like free market.
Yeah. Sitting from where we are, both on the listing side as well as on the delisting side, we always have this internal discussion and debate, right? Like, because we are in a very interesting position where on the exchange side, we are building the infrastructure for the marketplace, and I essentially believe that marketplace should be free markets. I personally have judgments on some of the stuff, but at the same time, I'm also very careful not to let my own personal judgment to step into that process, because I think it's only fair for the market to opine, and you'll see through that natural process what actually will last long term. But there are cases where sometimes I feel like, okay, we just have to pull the trigger. And because we see enough signal from the market saying that this doesn't make sense. But there's always a fine line. It's a judgment call many times. So yeah, we continue to have those conversations internally.
Wow. So will Okcoin have whatever the new version of Luna, whatever that turns into, that Do Kwon's trying to create?
Maybe, yeah. We are still looking at it. We're still looking at it. But
really?
But we'll see. Right now we haven't pulled Luna off our platform yet, because we do see customers asking for it. They're still trying to. Some of them, even if we pull them out, they probably won't be able to get out of it, right? So we're closely monitoring that.
Wow. Yeah, it's been interesting to watch some of the conversations happen with people who lost a lot of money. Yeah. There's a really popular account, I think it's one of the Wall Street Bet accounts, and I know that he lost a lot of money with Luna Terra, but then he put in, I think, 3,000, and he just thought, like, I'm just going to gamble on it because it went down so much, and already that 3,000, it went up, tens of thousands of dollars, because as they're trying to rebuild. But I think that this is like, you're gambling. You're gambling at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
The mentality is different.
Yeah.
But you know what? One thing that I've learned in a hard way over the last, I would say, 12 to 18 months. I think I know that before, but I didn't really know that as what I'm seeing it today. Like when we talk about particularly in Bitcoiner community, right? We are all like believers. We believe in long-term value of Bitcoin, and a lot of people in the community are purist or maxi, only Bitcoin, which is in itself good. But at the same time, when we look at the other side of the population, traders and speculators, they're always emotional reaction to, okay, is that good? But if you actually take a step back and look at the marketplace, they play a critical role in forming a free market, in helping price discovery. So, I think every people make their own choices, and I think that's the beauty of the system. When you have a functioning system, you just need to let it run through. And different people make their own choices, and you'll see the collective decision being ultimately reflected in the market. So I think that's one of the things I've learned in the last 12 to 18 months, both from looking at the market as well as from an operational perspective. That's something that I really developed, that deeper understanding of different players in the space.
Well, we're in Oslo, and you're speaking at the Oslo Freedom Forum. So talk to me about what your focus is here, because all the people we've been meeting, it's been so fascinating to learn about how Bitcoin is being used in so many different countries, under so many oppressive regimes, to subvert the governments and to really provide a tool for human rights. So what are you focusing on here?
Yeah, our topic is basically about bringing Bitcoin to billions of people, which is what I'm very passionate about. And I think a lot of people here at this conference is also passionate about bridging the gap, right? Helping more people to understand what Bitcoin really is and what value proposition it's actually bringing to the table, because a large part of the market is looking, particularly in the US, is looking at Bitcoin as an asset to invest in, both on the institutional side as well from the retail side. But in the other part of the world, Bitcoin actually offers real utility that is not replaceable by any other any other things out there, including US dollar. So I think that in itself is why Bitcoin has been what it is, why it is so special and unique. So I think that conversation can be quite interesting, and we'll see what that means and what it takes from here. But I think in the next few years, regardless of how the market price moves, that part of the Bitcoin story is going to be very memorable and have huge impact on the overall geopolitical and political and social fabric that we will be seeing. A lot of the changes is going to be happening outside US.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited to see the panel. Hopefully there will be a link and I can put it in the description if Freedom Forum releases it. But as we close up here, I know a lot of people that watch the show, listen to the show, they're just feeling nervous. A lot of people are worried because of the price, how much lower it can go. So just final thoughts. What's your takeaway message?
I think it's important. It's natural to be nervous about price fluctuation. But the important thing is when you feel nervous, it means that you probably don't fully understand what you're investing in. Then the right next step is not to panic, but also actually to learn more, right? To understand what it is. And if you feel like it is something that has long-term value, then forget about the price. Just stay there and come back maybe 5 years later, or buy more if when the market is down. Those are the great opportunity for placing buy orders. But if you think that actually you made a wrong assessment, then cut the loss and come out. So I think that is the interesting opportunity for reset for everyone.
That's great advice. Well, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you
and
for having
I
me.
wish you an amazing panel, and hopefully we'll have it linked in here as well. So
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.